What is up, guys? Welcome to the Militia Gaming community. I'm Trigger, and I make informative content on Forza Horizon 6, Motorfest, and Need for Speed. This is my second installment of my Get Faster series here for Forza Horizon 6. This one's going to be all about navigating the pack, navigating rammers, navigating other players. All right, let's go. All right, racing in Forza Horizon 6 is really all about navigating everybody else and what they're doing. A lot of people don't really know how to drive. A lot of people have bad settings. A lot of people just can't keep the car on the track. They hit walls, they take bad lines, they have bad braking and bad throttle control. Those people are a detriment to you in basically every way, shape, or form if you can't navigate around them and do it safely without having to miss a checkpoint. And then on top of all of that, you got rammers. Navigating race traffic is all about trying to predict other players' movements. And so at the start of this video, I got a few rules to live by, or rules to race by. Number one, and most importantly, you need to survive first. Everything else that happens in the race is less important than surviving, which means don't get taken out by someone else on the corners. Don't miss checkpoints. Don't hit the walls. Don't go off-road. Don't lose the back end in the corners. Survive. Above all else, survive. It's better to take a corner safer than it is to try to take it fast, make a mistake, and end up in a wall. One mistake in Forza Horizon 6 multiplayer means the difference between first place and last place more often than not. Rule number two, never ever hit a wall. You don't want to hit walls in online PvP. It works a little bit in when you play PvE against the AI. You can wall ride, you can do all these crazy things. But in PvP, you cannot hit walls. If you hit a wall, you are completely slowed down. The penalty is so severe when you hit a wall that your entire race, your chances of winning are over. Never hit walls. Rule number three, never miss a checkpoint. I don't care what you have to do. You got to stay inside the checkpoints. As soon as you miss a checkpoint, just like hitting a wall, in fact, even more detrimental than hitting a wall, you miss a checkpoint, your race is completely over. So it's really important that you don't miss checkpoints. And this all kind of stems from the survive first rule, but don't miss checkpoints, please. Rule number four, and this is more about like the navigating the traffic, never give up space. If you have the correct spot on the track, if you're on the outside of the turn and you're getting ready to turn onto the inside, you take the line that you want to take, even if that means someone else doesn't get to take the line that they want to take. Now, I'm not telling you to ram people. That's obviously not helpful, and it's definitely not something I want this community to be doing. You don't ram people, but you do not have to give them space. You can suffocate people by being on their bumper or right on their door, or, you know, forcing your way into a situation where it's good for you and bad for them. You want people to have to make bad decisions, and you want to put a little bit of pressure on them to do so. Rule number five, never expect anyone to give you space. You should be playing defensive when you're not in a stronger position. Meaning, if you're in the wrong position on the track leading into a turn, you really don't have the leverage to just stay in that position. What you need to do is make sure that you can make the corner, and you want to make it as fast as you can. So sometimes it's better to let off the throttle and get behind somebody and take the turn in the right line rather than try to force your way down the inside of the corner. Now, sometimes track knowledge does play a little role here, where you are on the inside of the corner, but you know the corner and you know your car, and you know that you can take that corner at a pretty good speed, and you know that there's not really a big advantage by being on the outside. That's when you don't want to give up that space. That's when you want to stay on the inside. That's when you want to force the guy that's on the outside to make a decision. That's different. But on very sharp corners, when you don't have the right positioning on the track, you need to make a decision early to let off the gas, get behind them, and take the proper line. Rule number six, if you're trying to pass people in the pack, you really need to take advantage of the ghosting period that happens at the beginning of races. This usually happens till about 10% or so, and then it kind of extends a little bit if people are still grouped up in a bunch. The game sort of decides when to unghost anyone based on where everyone's position is. If people are still inside of the other person's car, then it keeps the ghosting going, but after that, it'll unghost. That 10%, you need to take advantage of that. Make sure your lines are right. Start wide, hit the apex, accelerate out. All of the normal things, but make sure you're doing it with as much speed as possible, because it's really the only time on the track, unless you happen to get out front, it's the only time on the track that you're going to have clean driving. Absolutely clean, no collisions, and you don't have to worry about anyone. You have to take full advantage of that time. And finally, the last rule to race by is expect players to do random things. So when you're going into a turn and you've got somebody that's on the outside of the turn and he's ready to turn into the apex, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just keeps going straight. Maybe he goes to the outside. Same with someone on the inside. If you and someone else are going towards a turn together, they're on the inside, expect them to understeer the corner or just drive straight. Expect them to swerve at you when you're passing them. Expect everything and be willing to adjust your strategy on the fly. Your reaction time to those things will be faster if you're already expecting it to happen. And if it doesn't happen, if someone doesn't swerve to ram you, then you're all good. You're going to go right through real cleanly and you don't have to do anything. But wait for it. Think about it. Think about what someone would do if they were nefarious. Think about what they would want to do if they would want to cause you harm. Think about those scenarios as you're passing people or as you have the opportunity to get side by side. And speaking of side by side, the most dangerous parts of being side by side with somebody are going into a corner and going through a checkpoint. That's when the most damage is done. That's when people can make you miss a checkpoint or run you into the wall. Either way, your race is over at that point. All right, let's take a look at a few examples. I want to talk about some good racing habits. Those are my rules, but I feel like you can learn a little bit more if we go through some examples and talk through them together. All right, in this example, I'm in third place out of 4. There's only 4 of us in this race. The 2 guys ahead of me have some distance. I'm trying to be patient and I'm trying to catch them in the corners. That's where you have the most ability to catch up to somebody. Now, keep in mind, this is spec racing, so we all have the same cars. No one is at any significant advantage over the other except the driving skill. So with that in mind, let's take a look at what happens here. So here we are heading into a left-hander. I brake pretty early. Notice I'm on the brakes right about here. Watch this. Brake very early. I knew what was coming up. This is a very difficult corner. And because I broke early, there's a little bit of distance here that you see. It gives me the opportunity to make this turn at a much higher speed than the other 2. And this is what happens. Brake early. The red car goes wide. The gray car actually takes it pretty nice, but with a little bit less speed because he didn't brake early enough to accelerate through the apex. Now, because of that, obviously the red car out of the equation. He's behind and he's going to be falling back. But with the gray car, we're going to have to figure out how to get around them. Now, the thing that I'm trying to do at this moment is to establish track position in my favor. So what I'd like to do, knowing that there's a right-handed corner coming up, I'm going to try to get to the outside of this car. Now, if he was driving defensively, he would have taken up that space before I got a chance to get there. But I think he was focused on surviving that corner, not running into the red guy, and now he's just accelerating and sort of following the line. Here's what happens. He makes a mistake. He allows me to have this position. Now, in this moment, I'm thinking he could ram me and throw me into a building. My race would be over. But the risk is worth the reward. Because what I want to do here is force this guy to make a decision. I want to be on the outside of this turn. It's a very hard 90-degree turn, and I want to be on the outside so that I can make this turn with speed. He also wants to be on the outside, but he sees the car here, and he didn't react fast enough to try to get that position. And what ends up happening is that I creep up the side. He plays it safe and cordial, which is great to see. He could have easily put me in the building, but he didn't. And because of that, I'm able to put a lot of pressure on him. He now has a really bad problem. He's going to have to give me the position, or he has to take up the entire apex going very slowly, in which case I would try to go around him. But here's what happens instead. We perform a little switcheroo. Now, this is really important to everyone. This is a very standard practice when it comes to corners. When you're going into a corner with someone else, you've got the track position on the outside, they're on the inside. By driving next to them all the way up to the braking zone, you are making them make a decision. There are only 3 options they have. The first option is to go super fast into the turn, and then they're going to end up going wide, maybe hitting a wall, maybe going off the track. That's the option number 1. The second option is they brake really hard and they make the corner and they stay in the apex. That's honestly their best option. That's the option I would choose if I was in the wrong position. But that's a significant disadvantage because they're going to exit the corner with a lot less speed than what I can do if I go around. Their third option is to use me to corner. And because I know that's their third option, I'm thinking about that going into this corner, and I brake a little bit early. Here's what happens. I brake early. He takes the position. He was fighting me for that position anyway. I let him have it. He was expecting me to turn in, and I didn't. And what ends up happening is he blows the turn. I don't blow the turn. I have very good exit speed, and I pass him with ease. It's an easy switcheroo. All right, in this next example, I'm not going to highlight anything that I do specifically strategy-wise. I really didn't do anything, but I wanted to point this out because I think people don't really understand what this is. Sometimes just driving cleanly, not even fast, just clean, is what gets you into the front of the pack. A lot of people, make a lot of mistakes in these corners, and all you have to do is drive fairly clean and you find yourself in a very advantageous position. Watch what happens here. We're sort of grouped up at the front of this race. I brake a little early. I stay on the track. Everybody goes wide. I'm approaching the braking zone. I brake early. I get into a good gear and I take the corner clean. Some people pass me. They go a little bit faster. But guess what? Now they're heading towards this corner. They're fighting each other. I've got clean space behind me. I know no one's going to be there and I can brake as early as I want. So I brake early. I take the corner on the inside. All four of these guys go wide and I make a quadruple pass in one corner. I didn't do anything spectacular. I did nothing special. I literally just raced cleanly. I think it's important to point this out, and it's why I brought this example up. But let's move on. All right, in this example, I kind of spotted this from a mile away. This guy that was in first, I'm not sure that he rammed me on purpose, but I could tell that he was driving erratically because of this. I see him here, sort of swerving back and forth, and then he's forcing Dexter to sort of get behind him. He doesn't want to let him pass. His behavior is, he's acting like, if you get near me, I'm gonna do something so that you can't pass me, right? He's being very, very defensive and overly aggressive. I spot that very early on. So fast forward to our engagement. After this corner here, Dexter blows the corner. I go a little bit early, and because of that, I exit with a lot of speed, and it's me and the first place guy now. As we come into a right-hander, I don't think it's this one. Okay, so in this corner, he chooses to stay on the inside. I chose to extend on the outside and get as wide as possible, because the sooner you can straighten out your car and just give it full gas, the faster your corner exit is going to be. So this was a pretty wide open road. I had some speed coming out of that corner, and I can see him driving erratically once again. Not only is he driving erratically, but if you look at the mini map, we have a right-hand turn coming up, and I knew he was going to have to take some sort of drastic measure, and most likely that means he's going to hit me. So as we come close to the turn, he's getting closer and closer to me, closer and closer, but I'm forcing him to make a decision here. I'm pinching him. He knows. He sees what's going on here, but he didn't expect me to leave him a little bit more room, and what ends up happening is he ends up hitting some of those poles, and then he ends up ramming me. Now, I don't know that he rammed me on purpose. I think it was just a product of maybe the track positioning was really bad, but because of it, it caused me to lose a little bit of like where I wanted to be on the track, and it ended up having to hit him coming back on the outside. So here's what happened. He rams me to get to the corner, right? I was his only option, was to push me out. Now I go wide and I lose the traction on the back and I end up hitting him. So the chain reaction, then he grabs the wall and he's got the penalty. And if you look at his little car here, he's gone. So the chain reaction of him not being in the right position, hitting me losing traction, and ended up going back towards him, it all happened because he was driving in the wrong space. But because I put myself in the correct position on the track, it gave me the opportunity to stay ahead of him, even though the chaos happened. Okay, in this example, I'm making a pass on the sixth place person. This is right at the beginning of the race, the first lap. I'm making a pass on this General D guy, and I have enough pace to get to him, but I know the corner coming up. I know the little chicane, and I make a move. Let's see what it looks like. So here I've got the speed, I've got the pace, I'm gonna make the pass, but guess what? At this moment, I know he's gonna cut in because he wants to make this chicane, right? He wants to make it through this little S turn. I don't want to end up in this house, and I know he doesn't care where I'm at on the track. Once again, expect players to not give you space. He wasn't gonna give me space. He's ahead of me, and so what do? I brake. Full on brake. and I allow him to go through. What ends up happening? He hits the wall on the right side, and I make the pass anyway. It's pretty simple. It's very effective. Full on brake. Let him go ahead. Very patient. He makes the mistake, and I pass anyway. All right, this example is a little bit more advanced. I think if you are in this position, you maybe aren't watching this video, but I thought it was a good example of some strategy that you can take when you want to pass people. This is what I like to call putting pressure on somebody. I'm going to be riding this guy's bumper until he makes a mistake. I'm not being overly aggressive. I'm not trying to pass every moment, but what I'm doing is I'm showing him that I have the ability to pass. I'm having a look down the inside or on the outside. I'm moving around. His eyes are going to be focused on me. I am making myself a problem for him. And when that happens, it forces players into doing things that they're not really used to doing. This guy really wasn't driving bad this entire race, but I forced him into thinking about me, and then he makes a mistake. Here's what it looks like. So we exit the corners. I exit with a little bit more speed. So I'm going to have a look down the outside, and look, he covers it. So I just let him have it. I don't even force it. I just let him have it. I'm just being patient at this point. I'm so close to his bumper that he's thinking about me. He knows I'm there. All right. Again, I have a look on the outside. He covers it. All right. So then I brake a little early because I know this turn is coming up. What happens? He's busy thinking about me on these last two corners. What does he do? He breaks the tires loose, starts to skid, and that's the opportunity to pass. Ends up in the wall, and he's gone after that. He makes that mistake. One little mistake, and it was because he was worried about me making those passes. I didn't force the passes. I didn't make that happen. All I did was put pressure on him, and he made the mistake. All right, this is the last example of the video. It's an example where I actually got rammed going into a corner, and I was able to recover a little bit, and I want to just kind of show you how that recovery process happens. So in this corner here, this is the very beginning of the race. We're all ghosted. My goal here is obviously to take the corner with as much speed as possible and try to exit with as much speed as possible. And I did a pretty good job. I go from 6th place here into like 2nd place. So here's what happens. Take the corner nice and slow, and then I exit with a lot of speed. Now I notice I have a lot more speed, so I'm just going to go ahead and make this pass on the outside. And of course, Mr. Lonely Soul decides to put me into the wall. Now, luckily, I didn't get like the full penalty, and I got a little bump from behind, which helped me keep going. I'm with the pack. I'm fine. Now I'm just focused on making passes. So here we are. We're unghosted. We're going into this just basically like a straight section here. I'm just trying to navigate things. I'm not trying to hit anybody. I'm not trying to, you know, run into anyone's bumper. On this corner here, I brake a little early. I get rear-ended, which causes me to rear-end that guy. All good. Everybody still survives, and nobody crashes. Now, I'm making the pass on the inside. No problem. Lonely Soul, that's our rammer guy. Look, he's messing with this guy. Now they're pushing back and forth. Now here's the problem. Lonely Soul is bumping here. Like, he doesn't want to be passed. He's trying to shove Aim Dot off the road. Aim Dot's not having any of it. He pushes him back. Pushes him back. Okay. Now there's a problem for Lonely Soul because these two guys are absolutely fighting. I can see it. It's going to end bad for both of them, right? So I'm staying out of it. I'm just going to take the line that I want. I watch it happen. Lonely goes into the wall, and he gets the penalty. He's gone. Now, Aim Dot just got finished with it. He was still thinking about what happened to him. Missed the corner. I took the inside. Now it's all about just trying to recover and trying to get to Heavy D. So we fast forward a little bit here. As I come around this corner, I notice Heavy D is going very slow, which means he got a penalty for that wall. And this is my opportunity to keep going. I just need to stay smooth, and I need to get around him without him shoving me into a wall. So I'm checking it out. I let him go wide. I didn't even try to force him into anything. I was just hoping he wasn't going to, you know, ram me. If you notice, I hesitated here. I'm creeping up on him fast. I could just shoot the inside and be no problem, but I waited. I wanted track position. I wanted to be able to take this turn with speed, and luckily he ended up understeering the corner, and I was able to make the pass, and then the rest was history. Ended up winning the race. So I'm just going to put the rules on screen here now so you can see it. These are the rules to live by. This is something that'll help you make passes. It'll help you get better times. It'll help you go faster in online racing. And if you have any questions about anything, I'm not joking. send me a DM on Instagram or Discord. Either way, I will answer the message. It might take me a couple days, but I do answer, and I'm here to help. My goal with all of this content is to help you guys get faster, and so that's what I'm doing. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.